Right, we're going to talk about dealing with the difficult shoes today. And when I'm talking about dealing with the difficult, it's not so much things, but actually people. So, as I mentioned in the previous video, we often have shoes on our paths that sometimes we don't want to actually have on our paths. So it's one thing when there is a person, they're friends of yours that are, doomsdayers. They might be crayfish, if you haven't listened to that crayfish in the pot one where, they're stopping you from expanding, growing and being the best version of yourself, as opposed to being supportive and encouraging you and lifting you up. If they are energy vampires, they've got energy vampire shoes on where they're sucking your energy dry. That's one thing when they're a friend. But what do you do if it's a family member or somebody, you might even be married to one, or have a relationship with someone? How do you deal with that, that toxic energy? Well, not always necessarily toxic, but just negative, like to the point where it's like, it's not so bad that it's toxic. In some cases, it might actually be toxic, in which case I would say, look, maybe you want to look at actually changing the shoes altogether. But if it's negative and it's just sort of run down and it's just bringing you down, how do you deal with that? Because you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family, right? And this is one of the things, like I've had this with dare I say, with mothers with their kids. I've had it with partners, with their partners. I've had it where it's their mother-in-laws or their father-in-laws or both, where it's, a cranky aunt or uncle. Or so there's so many scenarios of really, is that necessary? And what's the driver that sits behind it? I mean, I've always been fascinated around the concept of gossip, especially small town gossip. It serves no one. I don't know why people do it. And it immediately makes me think, if that's what they're saying about them, what are they saying about me behind my back? And so I immediately don't gravitate towards people who do that. And dare I say, I don't know if it's everywhere, but people do it. I mean, we've got to face facts. And I think there's one thing about people being unkind about people. Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like people being unkind about people or saying something, people being unkind about people for the sake of being unkind is one thing. And then there's the other thing of when people are talking about someone else, especially when they're not around, might be coming from a place of concern. And I've got more time for that because that is being driven from the place of I'm worried and how can we make it better for them? Okay, so it comes from a place of let's heal that person that we love, rather than, oh my goodness, they're this, they loser, they're a waste of time, they're an oxygen thief, whatever it is that's going on in their head, right? Or, oh, did you hear about this, that, and the other? Now that to me is a complete and utter waste of time. And if you look at really successful people and high achievers, they don't do that. They just don't do that. They don't have time for that negativity. And another thing that you'll find as well with really highly successful people, the ones that really excel and stay on the success banner, they just don't talk smack about others. And they are... honestly, most of the time they're gracious. Now, I wouldn't say that for everybody. There's going to be exceptions, okay? There's those ones that made their millions and they're tight asses and they're unpleasant, and they're Scrooges and whatever. There are those ones, don't get me wrong. But if you think about the real successful people, think about someone like Oprah. Can you see her sitting there blagging off her, what's her mate, Gail, Can you see her, talking smack about Wayne Dwyer or Deepak Chopra? No. Her mindset doesn't even go there. Like she had every justification to be a bitter and twisted, unpleasant person, didn't she? And she chose, because of her background, when she was little and all that, sexual abuse and stuff happened for her. She had every reason to be that bitter, twisted, and unpleasant person that you could be around. But what did she land up being? Really super successful interviewing person, you know, who's a light to many women, who can, showing them that they can be different to whatever, even irrespective of your circumstances, right? So when we come around, like, you know, negative people and toxic people, there's a few things that I would like to say that you can do. One is, become aware. Like, you know, it's about the intention for me that sits behind the behavior. So we got to step in behind what the driver is, okay? What's making them say that kind of stuff? There's a payoff. So you're looking for the payoff as well. It's like, what's motivating them? What's the why that's making them wear those shoes that are being unkind to you, to other people? It might be that, you know, if they're an 8, they feel like they get more control, or they think they're being smart. It might be that they're an unhealthy 5 and they think they're being really smart. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch the Enneagram videos, and there's numbers 1 through to 9. So find the number I'm talking about, do hashtag Enneagram 5 or hashtag Enneagram 8, and you'll go and, it'll make more sense. But effectively, why would they be saying that? Now, if you come to the conclusion, because you've now got your Sherlock shoes on and you're doing a bit of an analysis thing going on here, and you go, right, okay, I can see that they are doing it because they're actually concerned about the person, then you may choose to engage. You might go, okay, do you know what I'm hearing? Even though it's coming out like maybe, it may be sounding like, I often say it like this. I say, I say, for example, like if someone's being unkind about someone, I go, it sounds like what you're really worried about is that you're concerned that something's wrong for that person and you're trying to find a solution. Am I right? And they go yes or no. Okay. And so you're kind of testing the water about whether the intention is to heal or whether it's to blag and, be unkind, okay? And then you can make your decision from there, all right? And then you can choose one or two. You can leave the room. You can go, okay, this is not something that I want to talk about. Or I sometimes just literally switch off and I don't hear what they're saying. If it's all negative, I just start thinking about something completely different, because sometimes you can't do that. Like if they're a relative and they're just going like that, you can let it in, or you can just not let it in, at all. You just block it out. So that is if you've done the 3 hidden shoe types quiz, you'll understand why you're doing that. So go do that if you haven't done it. It's free. The link's in the description below. And what I'd like you to do is work out, because managers, if you're a manager shoe wearer, most of your time, that is one of the strategies you can sometimes do, is you just delete. You just go, I'm not doing that. And, I talked about the delete and distort shoes as well. So it kind of is a mix of the two. It's like, you don't want to confront it. But the thing is, it's not something worth confronting, is it? Like, you don't want to make the matter worse. And sometimes if someone is being negative to you, you want to be going, do I want to go there? Because this is going to get into a bigger sort of mess. Or can I just let them blow off their steam and then I can choose to be unaffected? Now that is an actual choice, where it's just like, Wayne Dwyer talked about it a lot. I choose to be unaffected by my circumstances. Esther Hicks talks about it as well. So it's being consciously aware. So you move out into the observer role in your owl shoes and you're looking at the situation and you go, wow, I wonder what's going on for that person. Oh, that's interesting. Does that work for me? No, it doesn't. Okay, well, here's my way that I'm now going to deal with it. It's kind of like having a little talk inside with your healthy parrot shoes on, and you're going, ooh, okay, no, I'm not going to let that affect me. And, it's another pair of shoes, but it's basically where you do grow a shell, and you block out that person's, and it's just like blah, 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 blah. And sometimes, if it's really affecting you negatively, I put in fun things, like I sometimes, if they're having a real go, if they're getting really angry or whatever, or really unpleasant, I do things like, oh, here you go. You're acting a bit like a clown right now. And I go in my mind, I stick on a little clown nose. And then I go, oh, if they're really going off and they're still getting to me, I go, do you know what? I'm now going to put a noddy hat on. And then maybe a little crazy wig. So next thing, you're seeing this person and you've changed how it is. And now you're laughing. Whereas, before to yourself, hopefully not making their situation worse. But it's changing. This is an NLP technique where we're changing. We do what we call a reframe. We're reframing a negative into more of a positive that you can actually take on board, where you go, do you know what, that's fine. It's like, I get that that's your issue. It's your bag. It's your thing. Now, are they going to change that? That's up to them. Are they going to carry on choosing to wear those shoes? That's up to them. You can help them change those shoes if they want to, but if they're not into even doing that, don't even bother. It's now about how are you going to handle yourself when you come across someone like that in your space. Okay, how do you go, you push back, no thank you, that's not for me, I'm not doing that, these are my shoes, these are my path. So they might go, oh, I don't like the way that you've decided to now be the best version of yourself. Who do you think you are? Rah rah rah. And they really bring you down. You go, these your little clown ass. See, that's why you're stuck over there. And have crazy noises, little crackers going. I have some real fun with my clients about this. And sometimes you can even do the little knob thing where you actually turn their volume down. So if they're screaming or shouting, you just go, and then you can go, and just like how they're scratching, the DJs go, like that kind of thing. It's that same thing, and then it doesn't play. You actually don't hear what they're saying, and it undoes what they have said. So you get more resilient to it. The other thing is, if they have said something that got to you and it broke through, you're like, oh, I got affected by that, and I'm not dealing with that. Get the emotional resilience toolkit and do the work, because you can identify the emotion and then wipe it out. Just wipe it out. And as soon as you get onto it, the quicker you get onto it, the easier it will be to shift. Because if you let that brew and compound over time, it's harder to shift that. So what you want to do is get the, what does Tony Robbins say? He says it's better to get the Godzilla when it's a baby than when it's Godzilla, the mum. Okay? So we want to get, if something's starting irritated and then it's getting, now you're really, really angry, don't let it get to the angry stage. Get rid of it when it's still like an irritation. It's a bother. Okay, and then have your set strategy for dealing with that person next time you see them. So they can still wear their shoes, they can still walk on their path, but it's not yours. You have been empowered now, as of today, to be able to go, do you know what? That doesn't work for me. No, thank you. You've got your no, thank you shoes on. And this is a way for you to get into these shoes over here and go, I'm okay with that. You do what you need to do, and I'll do what I need to do. This is my path. This is my journey, my life, my soul. This is my right, and I'm going to walk it in my shoes, on my path, my way. And I don't, I know it sounds thing out there, but I don't care whether you like it or not. It's not about whether you like it or not. It's not for you to like. It's for you to like your own path, going on your own way, in your own shoes. So I respect your path, respect mine. So, when you get to that space, those people are going to come into your life with those shoes again because they're relatives or, someone that you can't, and you just go, not affected by that anymore. How great is that? I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, please like, share, subscribe. Please pass it on to someone who's going to benefit from this. There's loads of ladies out here who would really get some benefit from this. So please do that, Comment if you want to. Join us in the Facebook group. Come and join us on a path that's going to help you get to be the best version of yourself. That's what it's all about, right? We're here to expand. We're here to grow. Your shoes, your path, your way. Namaste.